Dear friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be diving into another interesting machine on the VulnHub, which is Alphonse. The link will be put in the video below so that you can download it and play it on your own. In this video, I'm going to showcase different techniques such as reverse engineering Android APK file. But more importantly, I'd like to showcase how to exploit, how to enumerate API. And also I'm going to show you how to exploit the XSS vulnerability, or how to launch XSS attack. You know, XSS means cross-site scripting. Although I've already demonstrated this technique before, unfortunately that way will not work in this case. We have to take a different approach to exploit XSS vulnerability. Before we get started, however, please make sure to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. So then we can head over to Kali Linux VM. First of all, we need to discover the IP address of the target machine. The utility I'd like to use, as always, would be net discover. Alright, as you can see over here, the IP address of the target machine could be recognized as 253. So what shall we do next? We need to perform port and surface scanning with a map. To save time of this video, I've already done that before, so now we can get out its result. Let's scroll up a bit. As you can see over here, I took the options like scene scan, default script scan, the version scan, followed by the full range port scan. The last option for all is ON to output the result into this file. So then we can retrieve scanning results whenever, just as what I'm doing now. You can notice here the IP address of the target machine has been changed as I re-imported the machine into the VirtualBox. So this time, different IP address has been assigned to the target machine by internal DHCP server of VirtualBox. As you know, this will not affect our operation. So now we can take a look at the output of scanning. The first open port 21. The service is FTP or File Transfer Protocol. And also we can get the version information. And with the option of default script scanning, we can tell the target machine allows anonymous FTP login. Afterwards, we need to check it out manually. The second open port is 80. And the service or protocol is HTTP or Hypertext Transfer Protocol. And also we can get its exact version information, Apache 2. And the last two or remaining ports are used by Samba service. Before we go ahead, I'd like to write this kind of information to our notebook. So the IP address is 253. The Nmap scanning, the first open port is FTP. We can copy. And second one is 80, Apache 2. And the last two are used by Samba service. Samba, okay. and another port number 445. So what are we going to next? We need to enumerate the services discovered by the Nmap. But the question is where to start. As I mentioned in my channel, although this is my personal methodology, maybe if the target machine has file sharing service running, such as FTP, Samba, the NFS, we should enumerate those services first. In this case, we should enumerate Samba and FTP. So maybe we can enumerate FTP first. So how to enumerate FTP service? And we can check to see whether this version is vulnerable or not with the utility such as Sprite. Also, of course, you can use Google to make some research, or you can go to exploit database website to search. Okay, so without sidetrack, as you can see over here, we have already got one exploit which falls into category of DOS or denial of service. As you know, this is not what we want in this context. Next, we can FTP to the target machine and can use, at least 2 client tools like FTP and also LFTP. Sometimes we need to try different utilities, but in this case, FTP is working fine. So now we can put the username anonymous, and now we can list out the content of current directory, the 2 subdirectories. Let's navigate into either of them, and we can get the APK file. So I think at this point we can know we have to analyze, or we have to make reverse engineering with Android APK file. As you know, APK file is the package used by Android. Okay, let's press enter to download it. So now let's go back, and also we can go navigate into second directory, but nothing here. Next, we can check to see whether we can have permission to upload a file. Let me create the test file. Let me make the font to be bigger so you can see what's going on exactly. Put test, but we got a 550 error, permission denied. So now we can exit from the FTP session. So what are we going to do next? Of course, now you can analyze or make reverse engineering for the APK file. But before I do that, I'd like to take a UU approach to enumerate other services. Okay, for example, next maybe we can note down such information. So this is our downloaded APK file, FTP. So now I'm enumerating Samba service, and the utility is SMB client with uppercase L option to enumerate, and we can supply password of my own machine. Okay, although there are 2 shares, but both belong to default ones. We can't do anything in most cases with this or with such kinds of default share. Next, I'd like to launch Nmap for Linux, and I always use this utility to enumerate the usernames on the target machine. Although, this is very comprehensive too. For example, also we can, like the earlier utility, we can enumerate out the shares and also the domains information, work group, shares, are very powerful, very strong. But again, for me, I always use this one to get the username. Okay, we can copy and paste in here. Sometimes username is so critical when we can't do anything to the target machine. For example, we cannot find any other vector, and then we can come back to the Hydra to make brute forcing. But anyhow, now we can enumerate the web surface, both manually and automatically. Let's fire up the browser to put the IP address of the target machine into the address bar. Very weird, we got the forbidden area. So anyhow, now we can launch Nikto to perform automatic enumeration. Nikto can give us rich information about web application from various aspects, such as the version information, request header, allowed HTTP methods. For example, if the target machine allows dangerous methods like put, and a pen tester or hacker or potential hacker can make use of this dangerous method to the advantage, uploading the web shell to the target machine. Okay, it's done, but we can't find anything from Nikto. Next, let's launch GoBuster to perform directory enumeration. Let me autocomplete this command. I'd like to say GoBuster in this case can't find any directories or files. To save time of this video, I'm going to interrupt it here. So I think we have already done almost everything in terms of enumeration. The only valuable discovery or information what we have already got is this one, APK file. So now it's time to analyze this APK file. As we know, APK file is some sort of zip file, the package used for Android mobile apps. So we can use the unzip or zip utility to extract, and we can use unzip. Let me complete this command. Let me hit enter. It's done. Let's go inside this directory. And this one, dex file, this is, we can call it like a compiled file. We cannot, take direct look into this file. We need to, convert it to, readable source code first. And we can take different approaches. And the utility I'd like to use is this one. Let me go back. jadx. And this one has two versions, command line version and GUI. And the next I'm going to use the GUI version. So how to do? Let me go to bin directory and let's launch the GUI of jadx. And we can open file, select. So now we can analyze the source code much easier, right? We can go to the source code. Of course, there are a lot of files with source code. Without wasting your time, I'm going to bring you to this one, the com and the analyzer, maybe this one, and go to network directory and network request. So how about this? Yeah, this one. And here we can find a rich information. For example, we can find the domain name. We can copy, maybe we can copy and post over here. And also we can find the login endpoint, the API. So we need to use API to enjoy the login function. So anyhow, we can copy. But login, in order to log in to the application, as you can see from the source code, we need to give 2 pieces of information, username and password. Username and password. This is the first endpoint we have already discovered. So how about this one? This is endpoint for registering. So I think we can register new use. We can copy, paste over here. Similarly, we need to give 3 pieces of information, username, but also we need to put, or we need to give the DNA string, DNA, and also username and password. So let's scroll down, and also we find another protected endpoint. Let's scroll down. So nothing else. So from this source code, we have already gathered so rich information. To go ahead, it's obvious we need to append the host name to the host file. Okay, let me open up the host file with Vim editor, and we need to change or modify the IP address of the target machine to 253. Let's write and quit. So now we can access, maybe we can close up this jadx because we do not need it anymore. Okay, so now we can access, for example, the last one, we can copy. Hit enter, but we got an error. The URL, or this URL is not found. I think it's protected, so we cannot access it at this moment. So now how about the login? Login endpoint. Press enter, and we got back some error. JSON pass unexpected character at the line 1 column of the JSON data login field. Because we didn't give any types of information, it's certain we will not succeed in login. And how about the register? We can copy and paste over here. Oh, I think we can use the browser. So message, user was successfully registered. But as you know, we didn't give any piece of information, username, password. So why? We are given some sort of new notice. So anyhow, next we can use command line to, for example, test API or enumerate the API. So how to do? Let me bring back the terminal window, and I'm going to use the Q command. This is so powerful. And I'm going to use the option. This option can display the response header, not just the body. And I've already prepared the command to save time, because if you make a mistake in any of the command, this will take a very long time to make troubleshooting. Okay, so how to do? I've already put it over here. Here. For example, we can use the first command to create or register new user. Let's press enter. So the user was successfully registered. So I use the -d option to specify the data to be submitted to the application. And as we know, based on our earlier analysis, to register user, we need to give 3 pieces of information: DNA string, username, password. So now, I've already given the 3 pieces of information. So now I think we can try to log into the application with this created user. Let me copy the second line. Press enter. Successful message, successful login. And also we can get the GWT. This is some sort of the session key. GWT cookies. So this is the JSON Web Token. Is a compact URL safe means of representing claims to be transferred between 2 parties. So anyhow, let's go back to Kali Linux. So now, what can we do next? Of course, because I assume we are using the normal user login form to be authenticated, not API. And usually we will try to, for example, test the SQL injection, and also we can test the XSS or cross-site scripting attack. To save time, I'm going to test the second one. For example, we can copy the third line. And so here, I'm going to, this line of command is going to create new user. But for this piece, or for this field, DNA string, I put a malicious code. So this is the image markup. And so if the application is vulnerable to XSS attack, and then this information will be saved into the database. And when another user, for example, like the administrator, access this piece of information, and then we'll try to connect back to our attacking machine or Kali Linux. Okay, so of course the X, you can put anything, it doesn't matter. X doesn't exist. So now we also can set up the web server with Python 3. Also, you can use Netcat, it doesn't matter, but Python 3 is okay. By default, this web server is using 8,000 port, right? So this is why I put 8,000 here. So now we can hit enter. As you can see, user was successfully registered, and we need to wait a bit while, and wait the other guy, for example, administrator, to view our submitted data. And if it happens, this will trigger the collection, collection back to the Kali Linux, and then I think our web server will receive this kind of collection, okay, or request. Although, our web server will reply back with the 404 status code because this X doesn't exist on our Kali Linux. Okay, I guess we need to wait about 2 or 3 minutes. Maybe I can pause the recording. As you can see over here, we have already, this web server set up by us a few times before, has received the request from the target machine, right? 253. Just as I said, this X resource doesn't exist, so our web server will respond with 404. So this confirms our, guess. The web application indeed is vulnerable to XSS attack or cross-site script attack. Okay, so this one, XSS attack. And let's go back. So what can we do next? Usually, if we found or if we detect the application is vulnerable to XSS attack, our goal is to retrieve a cookie of the other user, and then we can use this sort of cookie for our purpose, right? So how to do next? And we can send another type of payload. Let me copy. So here I can copy, put over here. So similar to this one, but the difference is this payload. This is some sort of JavaScript code. So the var will initialize the variable X and create the element, image element, and its source is our Kali Linux. And then I want to, at the same time, retrieve the document cookie and the document body append child. Okay, so now we can press enter. Okay, so we can press enter. And we need to wait again 2 or 3 minutes to see whether we can get back the cookie. If not, and then we need to work around or find other way to exploit this application. As you can see here, we have already got another request, but we failed to retrieve its cookie as we expected. So why is this? I think one of the possible reason is caused by HTTP only flag. This one in the cookie, HTTP only flag. So what this flag does, or what's the purpose of this HTTP only flag? This is additional flag included in the set cookie HTTP response header. So using the HTTP only flag when generating a cookie helps mitigate the risk of client-side script accessing the protected cookie. So if the cookie has the HTTP only flag, and this will prevent the JavaScript code from accessing, the cookie. Okay, this is some sort of security feature adopted by application. So how to do next? We need to take a different approach. I don't think I have already demonstrated this technique before. To be honest, this is the first time I try this technique. we need to use some kind of, a proxy, and some guy has already created this sort of, proxy. Let me go back to Kali Linux. This one. Let me search, the GitHub, and or maybe I just directly access this GitHub repository. GitHub. Yeah, this one. So if we have already got XSS, but we are unable to pop the session cookies, and this script, this JavaScript, is to proxy web traffic via cross-site scripting. By abusing session writing, authentication tokens will automatically be appended to each request, and then we can browse the page just as other guy. Oh no, this guy has been authenticated like administrator. Let me show you in action. We can, of course, you can download. And I will put the link in the description section, so then you can use it. So we need to install, not this one. Yeah, here, install the Node.js, npm, and open SSL package. And also we need to install the busboy, and then we can clone or get this, the code, JavaScript code. After you download it, you need to change the configuration. This one. The top section in this file. Yeah, here. Yeah, domain name. And we can put our own attacking machine like Kali Linux in here, okay? I've already done that before. So now we can set up this proxy server. And next, we can create another user, but this time we need to replace with no malicious code. And this code will be executed on the target machine. Let me grab, this one. Yeah, this one can copy. So the username, we can create a new user, and password, any password, and the payload for this, variable or this field is similar to that one. The only difference is this one. I want to redirect to the hook.js, which is hosted by the proxy server, okay? And then we can hook the browser of the authenticated user administrator, okay? So now we can press enter. It's done. And after a little time, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, we can get information about hooked browser. And then, we can use browser to access the page as the authenticated user. Maybe I need to pause the recording one more time. All right, as you can see over here, this proxy has got hooked new browser, and this is the target machine, and this is the browser is used by the administrator. So I think we can access this page. just if without without the XSS attack, this portal requires authentication. Okay, so now we can copy and open new tab, set the proxy to XSS, and the port number should be 80, yeah, this one, 8081. Okay, so now paste over here. Make sure we have already turned our proxy to XSS. Difficult to pronounce. So now we can press enter. As you can see, we are authenticated successfully. And here, username, DNA string, result, analyze. Let me open the inspect, open the developer tool and go to the network tab. For example, if you click analyze, you can get the request. And here, as you can see, we can find the request body ID, and this is the value, right? So next we can check to see whether, because the administrator is analyzing something, so possibly here the command injection vulnerability exists. So how to do? Let me use the command line to test Q, and maybe I can copy from my notebook as well. Yeah, here, this one. So the X, we can use the proxy and the data to be submitted. So the ID, of course, different user will have different ID, and I want to, inject command ls. Let's press enter. If we can get the result of ls command, and then this means, this means the application is vulnerable to command injection. Okay, let's press enter. Indeed, we have already got the file name in the current directory. So next, we can try to run reverse command. So how to do? Let me open new tab and set up listener with netcat, waiting for collection. So next, we can modify or replace this ls command with our netcat. Press enter. As you can see, we successfully retrieved collection from the target machine. Beautiful. And then we can spawn an interactive shell by Python. Python is there, Python 2 is there. Import pty, a module. Okay, so now we need to gather information to attempt to elevate privilege. Oh, there is one normal user. We can go inside this home directory, or we can grab the flag and lock. So what's that? Lock to do. Go to desktop. Nothing here. How about documents? We find rootme file. We can use the file command to see what it's about. So this is the Linux executable rootme, and we can use strings. We can run it, right? Rootme. Oh, we need to give the password. So possibly this is vulnerable to buffer overflow, wrong password. So maybe we can use strings to retrieve readable characters. Command not found. I think we can transfer this one to our Linux. And then we can use strings to retrieve readable characters. But here I'm going to use XXD. Similarly, we can get some information, hex data, and then we can take a look at the output of this command. Rootme, here you go. So I think this is possible password. Let me copy. Paste over here. If we can give correct password, and then we'll run the shell, because this binary has SUID bit, and then we can get the shell of the root user. Okay, so I think we can copy. This is a possible password. Oh, we need to give the password. It's correct. We have already become root user, and then we can navigate to root directory to grab the final flag without any difficulty. So I think that's pretty much it. I'd like to see you next. Bye. Have a nice day, please.